All right, y'all. I am cooking with butter now. I went out and made an investment into a studio grade headset, a mini mixer, and I've got some new software. So I needed to sort of do a test video, and hopefully I don't sound like I'm crying for help from the bottom of a wishing well anymore. This should have mitigated my echoey, tinny sounding issues. And just as a side note, I'm going to go back and redo those two videos and actually expand upon that content when I do. But I needed a dry run to try to test out this equipment, sort of a test run. And someone poured it in while I was gardening and happened to notice kind of what I had set up here. They were a little miffed at me, wondering why I never shared this with anyone. I've been doing this for a while, and I had meant to kind of tell everyone about it, but I didn't really quite know what to call it. So I've titled this Energy Savings because, it's important to save energy, particularly where Wizard 101 is concerned. And, like, how are we saving energy? Well, here's the thing. If you have to put down plots, okay, and if you go back to some of my videos, past videos, I show you how to put down plots, small, medium, and large, how to put them down with a rug and install flat plots. That costs energy. It costs energy to install them. And then in the end, if you decide you want to change up or do something else or move something, it costs energy to do all of that. Plow all is going to drain 69 energy from you. And, building an enchanted bed costs quite a bit of energy. So in this case, we're going to kind of sidestep the energy requirement by using pots. Now, for those of you that are new to this, there are no large pots in the game. So, if you are going to grow something that has a large requirement, large soil requirement, there are no pots. So, you will have to use plots the old fashioned way, and energy savings goes out the window. So, we are going to talk about small pots first, and then we're going to talk about medium pots. Now, I recommend, matter of fact, I insist that if you're going to do this, that you go with enchanted pots. Okay? For two reasons. One, any seed can go in an enchanted pot. Now, if you buy the standard pots, you can't put enchanted plants into those pots. All right? The second reason is that where the medium pots are concerned, you're going to need to use the standard pot. So it's the pot that you would get from Farley in Wizard City, the garden mole. He sells the standard pot. It's the terracotta pot. Looks like a pot that you might have in your, on your patio. It's that type of pot. Don't use the Mushu pots or the Celestia pots for the medium soil. Now, for the small, you can use any type: Mushu, Wizard City, Celestia, so on and so forth. Use whatever pots you want for the small. Just make sure they're enchanted. It costs a little bit more gold, but it's worth it. You don't want to put this in and then, oh, well, I wanted to grow this thing, but you can't because they're standard pots. So don't be cheap, is all I'm trying to say. So the small pots are going to lay out like this. It's a pretty simple layout. So it's 5, and then a row of 5, a row of 7, and then 5 rows of 9. So 9, 9, 9, 9, and 9. And then another row of 7 and a row of 5. Side by side, front to back. You want them all butted up against each other. Now, it doesn't matter the method in which you put them down, as long as they look like this in the end. All right, so there's no secret. You don't have to start and And you'll see in the clip that I'm about ready to show you that you can kind of do it any way you want, as long as you wind up with it looking exactly like this: 5, 7, 5 rows of 9, 7, and 5, and you're good to go. So, couple things we're going to need. It's not much, but first and foremost is going to be 69 pots. In this case, I'm using Mushu pots. They were in the bazaar, so they were a little bit cheaper. And then you want to go to the crown shop, go to housing, type in platform or part of the word platform, highlight the flat wooden platform, click the gold option, and you're going to want to buy 2 of these. Make sure to click the gold. You don't want to accidentally buy these with crowns. And then you want to start placing these pots. Now, unlike these small plots, this particular build, you can either plant these individually or you can use plant all, one of the two. Unlike the small bed, small plot bed, where you could use 4 clicks if you had plant all, or 5 clicks if you didn't. All of that's kind of out the window with this, unless you want something more permanent. This can be permanent. You never need to mess with this. So, if you want to just leave this in place, that's great. The only thing is these flatwood platforms, we're going to be using 2 of them as a bridge, in essence, to cover these over so that we can get to the middle of this field of pots and actually harvest what's in the middle. So we're going to need that. So keep in mind, it's just 2 additional spaces that are going to be utilized where your housing item count is concerned. So with that said, I'm going to let this play out, and I'll come back at the end. Okay. So now we need our flatwood platforms. Make sure when you pull these out and spin them that they're not touching the pots or over the pots. So we want to adjust our relative and absolute to XYZ, pull our sensitivity down, just so we can move these under our pots and get them into position. So what we want to do is just create a contiguous platform here. Keep in mind, on this one side that's closest to the character, on that side, those pots will not be covered. You can get it a little more centered, but there will always be pots that aren't covered. Keep in mind that if you go off that side of the platform and into those pots, that you'll get stuck and you'll have to pour it away. Now, there's no hard and fast rule for this. I usually like to do 3 clicks and then lower the platforms. And when you see that shimmering, you know that the platforms are aligned. So I like to, set this to 1 and then push these down. But you can do the reverse. You can do 2 clicks and then bring them up so that it kind of looks like this. Just the tops of those pots are poking through these flatwood platforms. Okay, so now once you've got that done, and they don't need to necessarily be even, so we can walk on it, see we can get to the center. But the question is can we plant on it? So let me run over here to my seed vault and grab some seeds. And see, no, I cannot plant on it. So I can walk on it, but can't plant on it. So I need to lower it. I've actually gotten it to a point where I could do both, plant and walk on it. So you may want to play with it a little bit when you do this. Because, see, I still can't plant on it. So if I lower it 1 more click, suddenly I can't walk on it. It won't let me on. But I can plant on it. So the cool thing about these is you can plant them individually, but you'll have to lower both platforms. Or with Plant All, you can just plant 1 seed in one of those side pots and then hit Plant All, and it should populate every pot. But just to kind of give you an idea how you can just plant these 1 by 1. Or we use Plant All. And then when we're done planting, what we want to do is we want to raise these back up a click or 2 or whatever to the point where we can walk on them. Let me show you what a large circumference service spell looks like. You want to butt it up against that front row, those seeds on each side, up against the stem or the base or whatever you want to call it, and it will easily encompass everything. Use the center seed as the aiming point, so the center plant. Now you'll notice Plant All misfired. Sometimes Plant All misfires. And when it does, I like to take care of those missing seeds manually. The reason being is that sometimes if you try to refire Plant All, it won't put the seeds in, but it will debit your energy. Now, this is 4 energy, so it's not that big of a deal. But nonetheless, it's still 4 energy. So, and then when we're done, we're just going to bring the platform back up to walking height. Okay, and we're set. And, you can install your likes. You can sink them below the pots. Like here, since it's indoors, there's not a lot of head space in this little area. I would sink them, but outside you can float them. Just make sure to not spin anything near any of the pots. Otherwise, it's going to pick the pots up and take them away, even if they have seeds in them. So keep that in mind. All right, so moving on to medium. So this is a whole different ball of wax. It's very much like actually laying down plots with a rug. It's sort of the same principle, only we're laying down pots using a single flatwood platform. Now this too, it doesn't have to be temporary. It can be permanent. And the great part about it is you have not spent all the energy installing it. And then, like I said, at some point, in the future, if you want to get rid of it or move it or whatever, you just pick it up and take it away. And you can sell it, sell the pots at least, in the bazaar for a fraction of your gold back. So it's handy that way. So you're not spending any energy putting it in, and you're not spending any taking it out. So what we want to do, we need 69 pots. They need to be the medium enchanted pot. You get them from Farley in Wizard City, their little garden mole. Buy those. Don't buy any of the other ones. These work the best. And you'll see in a minute. But you want to lay down your flatwood platform in this fashion. It doesn't have to be exact. Adjust your relative and absolute. Pull your sensitivity down to 20. Just like you were going to do, plots with a rug. You want to kind of find where that first pot is. If you remember the graphic that I just showed you, there's a single pot kind of on the bottom. This is what I call the guide pot, and it's kind of important because that's what you push the spell ring up against. So you want to make sure that you know where that's going to go, and then kind of march your pot back and set it down. Then you want to highlight your flatwood platform and move it 4 spaces into the direction that you're going to build, and then place your next pot. Now you'll notice these pots kind of do a little thing where they sink under and then they pop up and it creates a white line. It's when you see that white line, that is when you want to place the pot. Okay? So it's very important to go slow with this process. Make sure there's a white line, then place the pot. 4 clicks, accept, white line, place the pot. You're going to rinse and repeat this. It's always 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Accept. White line. Place the pot. Okay. Once you have your 8 pots, you're going to go either backwards or forwards, depending upon which way your character is facing. And it's a serpentine pattern, 8 by 8. And then there's going to be 4 across the back. So in order to put the next row in, I come back 4 clicks, accept, white lines, place the pot. Make sure the white lines are there. I'll show you after this how if you place it too soon when it sort of dips down, that it basically wrecks the whole thing. You got to start over. There's no mitigating it. 4 clicks, accept, white line, place the pot. Once you do this the first time, you'll see how they kind of snap in. And you shouldn't have any problem doing this. Four clicks. White line, place the pot. And we'll do 2 more, and then I'm going to speed this up because this takes a bit. Okay, and that is the final pot in the 8x8. So this is a little different. So you want to click your platform, and you want to bring it towards you or away from you, 4 clicks. And then you want to go, in this case, to the right of the character, 8 clicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 clicks, accept. Then you want to place a pot on that 3rd row. So it's the 8 clicks that will take you to that 3rd row. And then you just continue on as you were doing with the main 8x8 body. Just put in 4 pots across the back. And voila. Now it's very important to not pick this platform up while it's touching the pots. Don't pick it up and don't spin it while it's touching the pots. Don't spin it over the pots, so on and so forth. So get it out away from the pots, accept it, and then you can pick it up. Because if it's touching the pots, whatever pots it's touching, it's going to pick those pots up, and you'll have to start all over. Now, this is somewhat befuddling. So if you were to put this thing and install it as it is, so just put it on the ground. It's actually a little bit too far away, and when you go to cast the spell, you wind up either missing that front pot or 1 or 2 in the back on the sides. And notice that it's a little lower, so even if you smash it in there, it won't let you plant anything into it. So the remedy is to pull out your flatwood platform, highlight it, make sure your relative and absolute are right, and just slide it up against and slightly under the main body, and go ahead and install that pot like that. Now, it doesn't have to be completely lined up. As you can see, it's not 100% lined up. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You just want to get it as close to the center as possible. And when you're done, feel free to admire your handiwork. And let me see if I can get this mouse to cooperate. I'll show you what this looks like. How it all neatly fits into a large circumference. Services 69. Plants. Ring. Circle. Whatever. Okay, so the finishing touches. Back to the crown shop. Back to housing. Type in platform or part of the word. Doesn't matter. And you're going to buy 2 flatwood platforms for gold. Buy them for gold. Don't make the mistake I've made. Buy them for crowns accidentally. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing that we did with the small pots. We're going to make a bridge here. Again, kind of back away as you bring out your platforms. You don't want to spin anything near the pots. Same sort of thing. Relative absolute. Sensitivity at 20. And go ahead and line these up as best you can. They don't have to be perfectly aligned, but it's kind of good on this particular build with the mediums to have everything covered. And again, play with the sensitivity. I had the same problem with these. Could walk on it, couldn't plant on it. I'm going to play with that a little bit, and I would encourage anybody that's going to do this to play with the clicks on that and see if you can't achieve some way to eliminate having to move that platform to plant and subsequently to walk on it. So I'm going to install the back one. Oh yeah, 20. And same thing. And there we go. There's the shimmer. So those are even. Like I said, they don't have to be 100% even. It's really not that big of a deal. Okay, so we can't plant on it, but we can certainly walk on it. So let's lower it a few clicks. And let's go ahead and plant. So this too can be planted individually if you don't have plant all. And voila, 69 seeds. We'll bring the platform back up so that we can walk on it. And there we have it. And that's basically it. So, huge energy savings. No energy was spent installing it, and no energy will be spent getting rid of it. Now, here's a mistake that I made. I got a little froggy, and this happened to me. It's happened to me a couple of times. You got to wait for the white line and keep your mouse as stable as possible. I had it, and then I went too far and clicked it, and it's basically ruined. If you pick it up and try to move it, it takes all the adjacent pots with it, so you basically can't go back and add to it. It's essentially ruined. So keep that in mind. Go slow. Wait for the white line. Otherwise, you're going to have to start over. And you don't want to do that. Okay, so servicing it, it's pretty straightforward. You, in this case, I'm going to use dragonflies just to kind of show you. You want to push that ring back up against that first the plant there in that first pot, the guide pot, and just cast it. Now, sometimes, for some reason in this setup, these 48-hour spells don't show the animation. I have no idea why, but if you look at them, they still have the protection. So the spells work, and you don't need to use the 48-hour spells if you don't have them. It's not a requirement. Just so you know. And that's pretty much it, y'all. That's pretty much the process. And just want to say thanks, and I hope this is a little better than the last couple of pieces. And I hope that you guys will use this. Evil magma peas are great. Like I said, you can keep these as permanent fixtures for things that you're, or even quasi-permanent. I mean, I've moved beds and stuff so many times trying to find like that right sweet spot for what I have and optimize my Red Barn farm to myself and, kind of my habits. And this has worked out pretty well because there is some stuff that I will grow periodically, especially stuff for like the Malice fight. There's some TC requirements there. Most of that TC comes from medium-sized plants. And, I'm not always growing that stuff. I may grow it in cycles. And then there's other stuff that I grow for TC for, various decathlons. It can be small plants or medium plants or even large plants. But with the small and mediums, I find that this really kind of opens up the door to some sort of mobility that's maybe not as easy to move, but certainly cheaper in terms of the energy costs, because it's kind of a drag if you don't have many crowns, and you certainly don't want to roach crowns on energy potions unnecessarily. And you know, you've gone through this whole process, and you've laid down all these plots, and you finished your 69 plot bed, and you know, you're excited, and then you got to wait till the next day to plant anything. Now that's still going to be a reality for anything with a large soil requirement, but now we've kind of taken all that away with this particular trick, and I hope y'all leverage it. And again, thanks, and you'll hear from me again soon, very soon. But up until then, enjoy.